makes us more lost. If we're to make progress as a country, it's going to be because we get past some of these divisions that have in some cases been around for hundreds of years.
I got to bring it back to the beautiful First Lady, Michelle Obama. I know everybody sees, the polished product when you come out to give your speeches, or when you have that stature about you. I always have this kind of imagination that right before you come out, like you and Michelle just had some real serious conversation. She gave you some good wisdom right before you turn the corner, because that's my experience with Aisha. That's what I know. She keeps it real and always kind of there's a little gem of some kind of idea that I wasn't even thinking about. I'm like, you know what, you're right. I need to implement that into what I'm doing. Can you kind of maybe give us an example of maybe a hard decision that Michelle was instrumental in helping you land it in the right spot, or somewhere that she influenced the way that you presented yourself?
I think we've been married almost 30 years now, and so she's so woven up in me, and like I don't even know. Well, did I used to be like that, or
right?
Has she just been training me all this time? So now I'm this way. It's interesting, though. A lot of times with Michelle, in really stressful moments, the thing that she's really good at is actually making me laugh. Like I write about how right before the Democratic National Convention speech in 2004, which, I'm doing the math real quickly, but I guess you were, in 8th grade or something, 9th grade, whatever that was, right? So you don't remember this. But this was my first big national speech. It was really kind of the coming out party nationally. So it was a big deal. And it was sort of a surprise that I had been selected. I wasn't even in the Senate yet. I was still in the state legislature. It was very rare for somebody like me to get this, millions of viewers. And so I'd written this speech, and I knew it was good, but I'm feeling a little bit like, man, I wonder how this is going to go.
Right.
So she comes up. I'm about to be announced. And she comes up to me and she looks at me. She squeezes my hand, and she leans over real close, and she says, "Honey, don't screw it up." And I start cracking up, right? And that was perfect. That's what I needed.
Right.
If she had said, "Oh, honey, I'm so proud of you," I would have still been a wreck. But
right,
when she said it like that, then
got you out your own way.
And that was exactly what was needed. So, look, she's been such a powerful partner for me in so many ways. The most important things she's done that helped me become a better president was reminding me of my other responsibilities. Because, her insisting that I was going to be home for dinner at 6:30. Her attitude was, look, we're starting dinner because I'm not going to have these girls waiting for you and wondering is Daddy. Dinner's served at 6:30. I would advise you to be home at 6:30. And so I just set up my schedule so that no matter how busy I was, unless there was a genuine emergency, I was home at 6:30, had dinner, read to the girls, helped them with their homework. And then if I had to go back to the office to do the work, obviously I had the advantage. I was living above the store, so I didn't have to commute. But, her anchoring me in that way, that actually made me a better president, because it reminded me, all right, this is what families around the country are looking for. How can they spend time with their families? How can their kids live a good life? And so it was a continuous sense of focusing on what's important. And that made me I think, a more compassionate, more effective president. And the other thing that I think she did, she teases me because I'm more the, she calls me the fact guy, that like I always got facts in my head. And
I'm trying to solve everything.
Yeah, and I'm constantly, reading stuff and analyzing, and I got data, and she understands the world more emotionally.
Uh-huh.
And I think that there were times during my presidency where I had gotten the policy right. I had figured out, all right, this is how we're going to get healthcare done, or this is what we need to do to deal with climate change, but I was communicating to the public in such a kind of dry way that people they just couldn't connect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting. During the campaign, I was telling stories and connecting with people, but once I'm in the White House, all right, now I got to be serious all the time, and I've got to have these formal press conferences, and I've got to give all these statistics, and she was always good about saying, hey man, why don't you tell a story that people can relate to? Why don't you, instead of having a formal press conference, why don't you do something fun that people might actually want to watch? Right?
Did she tell you to come on this IG? Is that
absolutely. But that kind of when I talk to younger people now, a lot of my staff, they're coming to the age where they're starting to get married, have kids, et cetera, or they're thinking about it. They've been with somebody for a while. They're wondering, should they take the plunge? And what I always, what I say to them is, look, nothing's better than having a partner who is complementary to you, right? That sees things you don't, that has you covered on some blind spots, that can teach you something. Now that means that there's probably going to be a little more friction, because if they're strong-minded and they've got opinions, they're not always going to mesh. And I describe in the book the fact that Michelle and I are temperamentally different. She's got a strong personality, so do I. There are times where we're butting heads, but I am better because I've got someone who has strengths that I don't have, that sees things I don't see. And I would like to think that she feels the same way. And that, I think, has been one of the foundation stones of our relationship.
Couldn't say that any better. That complimentary piece that kind of gets you out your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And if you have that mutual respect and you're on the same level where you value each other's opinion, and you try to integrate that into how you're seeing things and how you react. And to your point, over the course of time, you might get confused. You don't know if it's your thoughts, her thoughts, y'all both thoughts. Like it does catch you off guard, and it's the best thing in the world. So just the way that you demonstrated that, again, through all the stresses of the highest office in the land, like that to me is one of the most amazing accomplishments, and the way that you've kind of inspired, relationships of all kinds all across, our country and the world. It means a lot. So just encouraging you guys on your journey.
Well, no,
we
I
appreciate
that.
that.
But look, the other thing it teaches you, which becomes even more important when you've got a daughter, as a man, you've got to have confidence in seeing the strength of your wife and partner, rather than wanting them to make themselves small to pump you up. And one of the great blessings of being married to Michelle is the example she set. Now I don't have to worry that Malia and Sasha are ever going to kind of dim their light, because somehow that's supposed to be the role that they play, because that's just not that's not what I want them their lives to be. I want that light to shine, and I want them to find people in their lives that love that light and love to see that shine.
Absolutely. Um, I'm gonna bring it kind of towards some current events in terms of like we just went through an election. Hopefully we'll have a peaceful change of power, and I think with all that's happened over the last year, and that's kind of been exposed in the conversations that have been happening that need to continue. How would you advise us as citizens, no matter where what walk of life you're in, to kind of continue this pursuit of social and racial justice in America? And I say that in terms of we don't have loud protests every week. We don't have the news coverage as much as we might like to.